I want to expand more on two feelings. One feeling is the safe feeling. When I just feel safe, I love that feeling. And the funny thing is, I know I'm always safe. A circumstance doesn't need to change for me to feel safe. I don't think, anyway.
If
But then
you
certain things.
if you feel like you're always safe, you would never use the word safe. Meaning satisfaction about safety implies that there is something that it's not safety. So as you say that you are safe, and as you say that you're always safe, that means that you don't even need to bring this into the conversation. In other words, that feeling of safety is really the feeling of ease about question answer dance we talk about at all times, knowing that there is always going to be the time of unfocus and the time of focus, and the time of unfocus and the time of focus. You're really bringing something brilliant here. Continue.
So why do we, because I hear this from, friends and clients, why do we sometimes say, I just want to feel safe? The other word I want to talk about, the other feeling is freedom. Those two things. So
So the only time you would want to feel safe is if you feel unsafe. In other words, this topic causes you to make the statements about this side and this side of the equation. Your question being unsafe, your answer being safe. Your question being unsafe, your answer being safe. So if you feel and love feeling of safety, that means you love feeling of ease. But if you're always feeling safe, that would mean that will never be the time where you will feel the question about this topic, and that's just not true. So trying to make this feeling, you see, we're bringing you to the conversation of, and this is why we think what you're bringing is brilliant, because we're bringing to this conversation about putting, again, the prize being the answer, the prize being the safety, the prize the movement, the prize the movement in your choices, the prize the choice. Freedom is in choice. Freedom you can put is equal sign to choice. You cannot feel freedom unless you feel you're making the choice. And once you're making the choice, you're not making statements about safe, unsafe. You're not even making statements about question, answer. You just are, and then you're choosing based off of this moment and this moment and this moment. Intuitively, at that moment, you know that something feels a little bit not so great, but then you know you'll move through. In other words, the only time when you want to feel safe, the only time when feeling safety is so good is once you've been in feeling of not so much safety, that you have activated feeling that you're not free. You see, the feeling of feeling not safe brings you the feeling that you're not free, and you're always free and you're always safe and you're always moving between all of those, and you do not have to pin one of those. Armand and Kosta have been trying to pin particular conversations, so the recording goes like this. For 3 days, they've been trying to pin a window so Armand can take an easier way to organize the video recordings later on. So you don't have to pin anything, because you always have to a choice, like Armand and Costa have the choice to crop. You can crop the video instead of trying to pin one video. You can crop from a double video exactly that piece. And this is what we're talking about. The choice, the choice, the choice, the choice. Your choice at all times about focus, your choice about unfocus, your choice about the whole dance, about the whole beautiful experience of physicality.
So maybe the feeling is not safe. You said comfortable. Um,
Regardless of which word you use, there is always going to be an opposite words. What we're bringing to your attention is making a big deal about one side will make big deal about the other side. So you making big deal about safety will bring you to be aware very much so about unsafety. In other words, allow yourself to dance through it. Allow yourself to dance through question answer. In other words, oftentimes this natural place of everything that exists, that natural place of everything that exists, that gets you to feel dissatisfaction and bliss, looking to be more in bliss is only if you feel like you will not always have access to bliss, so you want to hold on to it. looking for a feeling of safety means that you're dominantly not safe, so you want to hold on to it too. Once you do not hold on to the question, or you do not hold on to the answer, because you know that each answer brings new question, brings new answer, brings new question, that each unsafety brings more safety, brings some unsafety, brings more safety, that each type of feeling free, not feeling freedom, feeling freedom, not feeling freedom, it's just a dance, it's just a dance. Making the big deal about pinning good and making the big deal sometimes about pinning bad. It's just making this separation that sometimes you're trying to decipher. Everything that exists part of you, dominant part of you, and then physical you. Your focus and your unfocus, your question and your answer. And that's why from the very early days, the receiving that Kosta and Arman were having in these type of circumstance was the dance. It's the movement. You're never stuck in one, nor you're never just in another. You're never stuck in a question, or you're never positively stuck in an answer. You're constantly moving. So this labeling, this spinning that we talk about is what we're trying to get you to be a little bit easier about. So as the friend is saying, you're not getting only the spiking experiences of this unsafety and dropping into so much safety, but you have this beautiful wave experience about question answer dance, where that's how you experience full steadiness of the whole creation process.
Yeah, I don't feel like I have the spikes. It's just like it's like
Go into the more honest version of what you just said.
well, I can give a really specific example. So when Trump won 4 years ago, everybody was kind of crazy about it. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people were. And I'm like, but he's going to be fine. Everything works out. It's meant to happen. And for the last 4 years, I've really been pretty good.
Which means on this topic, you were not feeling safe or unsafe. You were feeling just blended into the whole question answer on this topic. And this is exactly what we're talking about. But you pinning more safety, that can bring you to experience some unsafety. Or pinning the freedom when you feel freed can mean that you can then experience some more of the other side. In other words, be easy about the whole process. Easy about the whole creation process. Because what comes into that place of emphasizing either question or sometimes even emphasizing the answer can bring you not even to see when the next question comes up, and then you redirect focus on something that's the wrong side of chocolate.
Well, you were right on that first part. Well, of course, you're always right.
That means that you're always right too. We wanted you to hear that too. Continue.
Thank you. So, so then today, once, it's like the last few days have been a little tense with the election stuff. Today, when it was announced that Biden had won, I just felt this, like, I don't know, again, the safety, but it was just like, a relief. It was just like, even though if Trump would have been reelected, I know it would have been okay. But it was like there was something there that shifted just like inside, like, whoa.
That means that some of the choices you're making or some of the attention you're giving, it's okay for you to make opinion. You're always making opinions. You're always forming judgments. You're always creating beliefs. You're always having active habits of thought. So you do not have to explain yourself in a way that this will be okay or that will be okay. All is always okay. But your preference and being easy and being committed to your preference is okay too. Just understanding that anything that you commit your attention to is constantly dancing. Anything you give your attention to, it's never fully steady. Everything that you give your attention to is in that moment like that and never like that again. It's always new and new and new and new. And so are your decisions.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Really, really, really good conversations.